bonjour, guten tag, hola, zdravo. Top of the morning to you, Europe. It's Jeremy here from Team Australia. And I know the Europeans really know how to tell a story. Aristotle, Shakespeare, Alighieri, Tolkien, Ramstein. You get my point. I'm here to tell you a story today. Now, I know many of you, when you think of Australia, you'll think of our fauna, like our animals. We're famous for having some of the most dangerous animals in the world. Our snakes, our spiders, our jellyfish, our emus. Even our eagle makes the North American eagle look like a street pigeon. So I know that we're famous for having really dangerous animals. But are we? This is the story for you guys today. So most of you know that Australia was colonized back in 1788 by the English, right? So the UK, the British Empire, sent many vessels out in 1788 under the command of Captain Arthur Phillip to colonize Australia. Now, of course, we know Australia was kind of discovered a few years earlier by Captain James Cook. But when Arthur Phillip came out, he really had his work cut out for him, right? He had all these dangerous animals, this nature that was ready to destroy any kind of people coming in. So the English knew about this, okay? So when the English were sending out their settlers, and many of you people know, Australia's got kind of a reputation for being settled by convicts, by miscreants, by thieves, just, the bottom tier of society. But there's something else that happened back when England sent out the first fleet to Australia, because they knew how dangerous Australia was. It wasn't something that we just only know now. There was a prison. Okay, now I had to dig really deep into the history books to find this story for you, so I hope you enjoy. There was a prison called Jail Atlantis in the eastern suburbs of London, right deep. Now, it was actually called Prison Atlantis because it was sunken deep into the old crypts of England, of that suburb of London, where people were buried. There were a lot of dead bodies in the times of plague. A lot of people died. They basically had to dig really deep trenches. As you know, I don't need to lecture about that to the Europeans. But in Jail Atlantis were the worst of the worst, okay? We're talking murderers. We're talking about the worst swindlers, the worst of the worst, the people, capable of anything. And it wasn't just English. We had, impalers from Romania. We had, brigands from Italy. Everyone from all parts of England that were committing crimes, the worst of the worst, were put into Jail Atlantis. Now, the reason for that was twofold, really. Firstly, it was a bit of a prize for the King of England to have the worst of the worst prisoners kind of kept under his control, that he knew were there, that he knew that he could kind of say, well, that guy that killed all these people, I know that I've got him. I know that I can torture him, do whatever I want with this guy. Not only that, but it was a bit of a kind of a threat to future criminals, the worst of the worst. You're not just going to be sent straight to the gallows. You're not going to get a quick way out through execution. You're going to have to suffer deep, deep, deep down in Jail Atlantis. So these prisoners were the worst of the worst. But when the first fleet was being prepared to come to Australia, they had an idea. They knew that the people that were going, they wouldn't be able to survive without some hard men and women. So the Jail of Atlantis was emptied and was put upon the first fleet. So Australia was not only colonized by thieves and miscreants and just, people from all around the lowest tier of society, they were colonized by very dangerous people. Now, I've done a little bit, we've got some interesting technology available to us these days, and I've done a little bit of research lately. I've had time, I've written my list, I've submitted my list. We're playing a couple of practice games every now and then. So I've had a bit of time to do some research, and I actually realized I've done, there's a website called ancestry.com. You can kind of look at, where people are from, and I've actually done some research and found that every single member of Team Australia has genealogy going all the way back to those prisoners of Jail Atlantis. Europe, we're coming for you. And Team Italy, ciao bella.